Good evening and welcome back to another edition of Beyond the Backstage Pass. I am your host, Vince Edwards. You may know me from Sound Image Productions, and of course, I have a couple closed roadie groups on Facebook.
Hey, you got
I
it.
got it that time. One's called Death by Loadout, and the other is called the Backstage Pass. Come check us out. We have some fun over there, get up to some nonsense, and talk some shit. I'm here this evening with my good friend and permanent co-host. Trying to make up for some sins from last week. Kyle Thomas. Kyle Thomas, how are you, my brother?
Good, man. Another day, another dog biscuit.
Yeah. Last week, I feel like you got really hooked up. Somebody brought you a big old box of dog biscuits in.
I was so happy.
Yeah. Well, you're loved, man. You're loved. There's a thing you bring to the game, and people dig you. So, what'd you get up to this week?
Just bucking ass on this SXL still.
Yeah.
I been coming up with new things with Scoville. A couple of conversations on just like his common workflow with his bands and stuff. So it's been drumming up some conversation. A lot more about just waiting on getting this Waves card into the console and seeing what we can do with that. So.
The challenges are endless with it. It's like an onion, man. You just keep peeling away at the thing, and there's so many things that you discover and evolve. And it's a great console. It's a great board. I know that we've got a thing coming up this weekend for the Big Love benefit concert. That's
we sure do.
January 23rd on Nugs TV with many wonderful people. Billy Idol, Winona Judd, Rick Allen, Lauren Monroe. Should be a great time. It's to benefit and help many of our brothers and sisters that may be in a little bit of need or need some assistance through the good people at Sweet Relief, Project Resiliency, and the Raven Drum Foundation. What do you know about that? I know you've done some. Why I'm leading with this is because you did a whole bunch of work to dial in the space so we could have use the lead behind us to do a little thing. Tell us about it.
Well, so if you guys want to check it out, we just got into this centerpiece of Front of House magazine. So to kind of tell you a little bit about each one of our roles, but it was a benefit that we filmed here involving a choir and a bunch of acts. We had a few days of rehearsals, along with like a full lighting rig and a small PA in the building, with IEM package for monitors and a broadcast wing that Brad Maddox was running.
Yeah, the great Brad Maddox.
We had a couple other teams going that, we usually don't integrate with too much in conversation during a show. So, we had a COVID compliance officer that was kicking off with his group.
That was AJ Fardella and their good dear friend John Del Rio of Accurate Staging.
Yeah, and I think John supplied some of the stages.
I think
intense.
he told Accurate, and he's over with Gallagher now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, let me clarify that right now. John Del Rio is our dear brother, one of the greatest guys I know. He runs Loving Hands for Stagehands, which is that Facebook group where it's a good place to go get your head straightened out and learn some cool stuff.
You're not wrong. He shares some good points that struggling people in our industry really need to hear. So
yeah, he's a hell of a guy, and we're glad to have him as a friend, and we very much support what he's doing with Bob Powers, one of legendary rigger, Metallica, some of the biggest bands. Bob's the badass, and of course my brother George Edwards. They all keep care of that page, and Sue Kearney, she's great. She's actually in this evening, practicing and doing some work on the SXL and the Pro Tools rigs and it's something. It's a labor of love, and we're stoked with it. And it looks like some folks have checked in this evening, buddy. It looks like the great Scott Cheney is in. Scott, how are you, buddy? And the one and only Quint Winsley. He's the crew Music Asia, all around general badass. And of course, Pat O'Doul. We love that guy. And my love of my life, Jackie at Slow Fiber. Love you, baby. Hey, listen, tonight we've got a hell of a show. This thing should be fun this Saturday. What is it, Saturday the 23rd?
Saturday, man. We're eating meatballs together.
Nugs TV. Check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun and great entertainment. It's a good cause. The money benefits road crews, roadies, stagehands that may be in need. They can go there and see if there's some assistance they can gain from Sweet Relief.
Yeah, don't forget there's a bunch of items that are going to be auctioned off that are from, pretty famous bands.
Disturbed and Def Leppard and some other folks have contributed to this. Some good friends and lots of fun, cool stuff that's available that evening and on the, I believe that's on the Sweet Relief page.
It is. It's going to be on Sweet Relief, but it'll also we'll have links through Nug TV.
There you go. There you go. It should be a great thing. It's a great cause for a good purpose, a good reason. So we highly recommend you check it out. But we've had a crazy week, lots of stuff going on. We're starting to get some shows in. It's going to be towards the middle and late summer, but we're booking them, and that's encouraging. Super
Feels
encouraging.
good, man.
Right, right. We get some verified dates that. Yeah, we need that just as much as anybody to keep our spirits up. We love what we do, and the proof is when we got signed contracts. so that's my brother killing it like he normally does. He's a badass about getting the shows. So we're all looking forward to that. Tonight, it's good to see you, man. I'm glad you had a good weekend.
You as well, brother.
Let's do this thing. Say hi to your girl for me.
Hey, Susie.
Susie Dugan, the one, the only, putting up with this beautiful man.
I
Good
know,
stuff.
she deals with a lot.
She's a lovely girl. She's a lovely girl. You're a lucky guy. All right, guys, let's do this thing. Listen, I was having Anthony Lopez come on this week. He's a badass LD. He does it all. He's a sweetheart of a guy. He got the COVID test and he got a positive. I don't think he's sick, but we're erring on the side of caution. You know, we're always trying to do this thing as safe as we can. So we're going to push him to the back of the schedule. We've got all kinds of people coming up. We've got next week. We've got the lovely Gabby Schiff from Pink and Heart and a bunch of theater experience. She's a wonderful LD. She's going to be great. The following week, we've got Pooch coming on, the one and only Ken Van Dorten, also known as Pooch, the engineer from some of the best bands ever currently with Iron Maiden. The weeks are looking good. We've got great shows. We reached out to a guy that we intended to have on all along. And he came in and he's doing some fill-in duties for us. He's an exciting, incredible guy, a dear friend. I met him back in middle 80s on a big show he does that we're going to talk about. Let me give him a good introduction here. He's the managing director of Bammies magazine, Bama Online. He's been with some of the biggest acts. This show is a kind of an incredible thing that's happened here in the Bay Area for decades. That's had some of the biggest acts from Metallica, Journey, Santana, Sammy Hagar, some of the greatest. He's worked with RCA Records, CBS, KTVU, the 49ers, the National Football League, and he's a dear friend. Can you please help me welcome to the show the one and only Kenny Wardell. How are you, my brother?
I'm doing great.
Kenny, it seems like I'm losing sound real quick. Let me see if we got some issues going on.
Oh, you all right?
Ears are griefing on me. Kenny, can you hear me, baby?
I can't.
Yeah, barely there.
Huh.
Barely anything. Looks like well, Kenny, it's so good to have you on the show. Thank you for coming in at the last minute. You're a badass. We're going to ask you, of course, how have you been doing for this whole COVID-19 thing?
It's been messed up, to be perfectly honest. I feel like I've been in San Quentin prison with the warden in solitary confinement. But, we're working it out. And thank God I have a dog to walk twice a day. So that way I have an excuse to get out of the house.
I sure understand that one, Kenny. My
Yeah.
guy's trying to help me with my ears right now. I'm getting a kind of a bad signal, but I can hear you just enough. Let's get right into it. You're the managing director of the Bay Area music situation. It's been really a thing that we look forward to every year. Some of the biggest bands come to it. It's a thing that's broadcast on local TV. It's just this side of the Grammys in effect, but for the Bay Area music folks, which are, I mentioned, we have some really great bands that are out of the city here. Tell us about the history of the Bay Area Music Awards.
Okay, well, BAM Magazine started in 1977 and went until 2000. It was a free publication available at the Record Factory, Tower Records, Music Factory, all of those stores. And because when the record stores started to close, the distribution for BAM Magazine went away. And that's when BAM closed. And but the Bammies were around from 1977 to 2000. And it ended kind of, it was a quiet ending. It was at Lake Merced in Oakland for one of the city's, public gatherings of music. It was not the Bammies show like we used to have it. The Bammies were the top musicians in 20 different categories of music. And it started at the Kabuki Theater in San Francisco, went to the Warfield Theater, and then it ended up in the high times at the Bill Graham Civic Auditorium, which was just called the San Francisco Civic Auditorium back then. Yeah, right, exactly. But it was, sold out as soon as it went on sale every year, and it was the who's who of one of the best music scenes in the world. The San Francisco Bay Area music scene has always been thought of from the Summer of Love till today, frankly, as a just a wealth of great music. And so our hope is that someday soon we'll be able to bring back the Bammies for the next generation. That's our goal.
Well, I've been to many of the shows myself with doing work and just as a guest, and they were a lot of fun. I mean, you put on huge shows. It's really hard to explain this to the people that hadn't seen it or hadn't been a part of it. It was some of the, like you said, some of the politicians and stars and rock stars. Yeah, we used to really get up to a lot of fun over there. I know it closed in 1999. But then you brought it back in 2011 with BAM Online.
That's right.
Tell us about that.
Well, I had a bunch of friends that were related to BAM Magazine back in the day that called and kind of pestered me and said, let's do BAM. We'll volunteer. You get me tickets to Tom Petty and I'll cover it for you and stuff like that. So we had about 10 people at the beginning in 2011 that were on volunteer basis, not getting paid, but at the same time they were getting interviews with some of the best musicians available in the world, and backstage access to them and all of that. And so I was the managing editor of BAM when we first started the online, and I probably had 5 different videographers. I had probably 5 to 10 writers at any given time, and so it flourished. It really did flourish. At some point, when we would do a Green Day story back with BAM Online, we would get between 25,000 and 50,000 unique visitors a day for a month. So this was a successful online music magazine.
Yeah, no, I always loved it. I always thought it was one of the most insightful kind of what's going on in the area, the regional market, and some of the, again, luckily we have some really great bands that are headquartered out of the area, and so we always kind of lucky to get our fingers on the pulse, and BAM Magazine was one of the best places to go to kind of get an update and know where things were at. Absolutely fantastic thing. I know you worked with a lot of big bands. You mentioned Green Day. I mentioned Santana, Sammy Hagar. I know, and you are very close. And for a lot of us that work in the Bay Area, we all kind of know Sammy pretty well. But I know you've done a lot of shows, and I have to ask you: do you have a favorite artist, show? Can you tell us a good story?
Oh man, that's a tough one. That is a really tough one. Of the Bammies, I would say the 20th anniversary of the Bammies was my favorite for sure. And it featured Santana, Huey Lewis and the News, Tracy Chapman, E40 and Too Short, Cake, Linda Perry, Imperial Teen, and Jocelyn Enriquez. And, just at the end of the show, when, Santana did the finale with his band. He did a 3-song set, and then he was getting ready to leave the stage when he looked over to the side of the stage and he goes, "Hey, there's a bunch of friends over there. Why don't you guys come out and play with us?" And it was Huey and it was Huey and all those people I mentioned to you, Tracy Chapman, and got together.
I remember it well.
Chris Isaac.
Yeah, it was a hell of an all-star jam. That was an incredible moment.
It really was. That was typical at the Bammies.
Yeah, no, the Bammies had a real family vibe to it. At the same time, this is a massive show with thousands of people in attendance, and
Yeah,
always a lot of fun. I was always amazed at how well those went, especially the backstage energy of the thing.
yeah.
There'd be all kinds of it. Pretty much everybody was there. Tell us about your experience with music and sports. I know that you've done a lot of, like I mentioned before, you've worked in with the World Cup for soccer. You've worked with the NFL with the 49ers. Tell us about
Yes.
your interactions with artists and sports.
I went to high school with a guy named Michael Olmstead, who is still to this day the entertainment director for the 49ers.
Hmm.
I got into radio and started hooking up with a bunch of Bay Area artists and stuff like that. So Michael would hire me to do 49ers home games. And so what that meant was either the national anthems or the halftime entertainers or whatever. And we had some of the best shows in the NFL for sure. There's no doubt about it. In fact, I even heard that from Eddie DeBartolo and some of the other, higher ups in sports. So from the 49er experience, Michael and I went to the Pro Bowl in Hawaii. We got hired by the NFL to make the Pro Bowl happen in Hawaii. And it had been in Florida and it had been in other cities, but the NFL wanted to take it to Hawaii. So we were able to do that there.
That had to be a lot of fun. Who was the artist that came along?
Oh my goodness. Well, Santana's been always in my stable and always there for me and always jumped. He also did the World Cup down at Stanford, the World Cup opening ceremonies at Stanford for me, and with Bob Weir and a bunch of other people. But music and sports has been it's been my second job actually for all these years.
Yeah, no, I've always closely associated with kind of both. I know you have a foot in both worlds, but where they
Yeah.
kind of the combination meets, they complement each other.
They sure do.
You've talked about handing the Bammies off to the next generation. I know this is important to you. It's important to all of us. I think it's something that deserves to stay alive
Yeah.
and to be spread. But how are you planning to do that when we're going through this virus that's locked up the entire music business? I know you've got a plan. Tell us your plan.
Well, we had planned to do, I don't know if you can see this on the camera here, but the Bammies Battle of the Bands. And we actually did launch this in January of 2000. And we started getting entries from all the high schools and college kids and stuff like that. And then the virus hit in March. And one of the principals of Burlingame High School called me and said, my parents don't want to do this anymore. You got to take us off your list. And that we've had to postpone the Bammies Battle of the Bands. But we have figured out a way to still be able to do the Battle of the Bands, but to do it virtually. And what we're going to do is on our bammagazine.com website,
Yes, sir.
we're going to have an entry form, and people are going to put the names of the bands, how many musicians are in the bands, what kind of music they play, and put a sample up on YouTube or one of the TV channel that we select to do that. And then our Bammies Music Foundation Board of Directors will then pick 20 bands. 20 bands that are either high school or college age bands in the various genres. And we will then have either a virtual concert that that people can't go to, but they can watch and we can stream it and stuff like that. But that's the plan now, is to do a virtual Bammies Battle of the Bands. And we do have there's, I don't know if you know about the Midway in San Francisco, but it's a fantastic venue. That's fairly recent. It's 2 or 3 years old now. But
I don't think I've been yet.
Yeah,
Have you?
we've put in a few different things into that venue.
My compadre tells me we've worked there. They don't let me out of the house that much, as you know, Kenny. So,
you people. Yeah.
a lot of times I just say, build this, make it go, and they take it places. And so yeah, that's the place you could plan on using.
The Midway is a fantastic big room for about 3,500 people in the warehouse concert hall.
Mhm.
They have 150 seats in their bar area. It's kind of like the San Francisco Victorian red leather bars of old.
Sure, sure.
And then they got the permits to do outside their on the street in front of the Midway. They have socially distanced the tables and all that stuff, and they have been able to get permits to do a stage on one end of the street and a stage on the other end of the street.
Oh wow,
So
that's cool.
the thought is to do the Battle of the Bands, if we can, that way. The finals, the 20 bands at the Midway.
That sounds very doable.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think you're going to need some gear and maybe some staging, Kenny. You got my number, right?
You know where I can get any of that stuff?
Just got to reach out, brother. You know we always got your back.
Yeah.
Listen, I wanted to talk about, you kind of got a walk of fame. People in the Bay Area are very familiar with it, but let's tell the world about it. Similar to the Walk of Fame that's in Hollywood, we have a version that's Bammies, that's called the Bammies Walk of Fame. It's in front of the Bill Graham Civic Auditorium down in the Civic Center Plaza area, which is a beautiful part of San Francisco, very large, expansive area. An impressive, legendary group of folks that have been included to date.
Yes.
Do you have any plans to put people going in the future to include more folks into that Walk of Fame?
You know, I recently stepped down as the president of the Bammies Music Foundation. Dan Ashley from ABC7 is now the president of the Bammies Music Foundation, and I'm so delighted to have him because he has brought in a lot of other people. We have 22 people on the board of directors of the Bammies Music Foundation now.
And Dan's running it now?
Well, Dan is the president, yes.
Yes, we had him in here, I believe, and we did that. We did the press conference here, right in this very space, right where I'm standing. Except for there was a podium, and that was super fun. We had I believe we had the big 40-foot camel out that day. We inflated your Bammies camel. You want to tell us about your camel? We love that thing. It's crazy.
Well, I worked at Camel Radio, KMEL 106 FM.
Yes, sir.
For close to 10 years. And our mascot was this inflatable camel. And so one day, the owner of Camel, who lived in Chicago, came into the station unannounced. And he walks into the general manager's office and he closes the door behind him. And I'm thinking to myself, because my desk was right across the hall from Rick's office, uh-oh, something's happening here. So Howard Grafman announces that he's changing the format of the Camel from AOR, which was a very successful format for Camel for 10 years.
Yeah, they were a great radio station for the longest time.
To a hip hop and R&B flavored station.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, comes out of Rick Lee's office and he comes into my office and I'm going, uh-oh. And he says, "Hey Kenny, we're changing the format of the station, and where's the camel? Where is the camel inflatable right now?" So I said, "It's in the warehouse on Army Street." He goes into his wallet and he pulls out $100 bill, and he goes, "All right, I want you to go to the warehouse, get the camel out, take the $100 bill, and take the camel to the dump. And I want you to give the $100 bill to the plow operator at the dump. And I want the camel completely covered and buried, and I never want to see it again." So the camel was part of my life for 10 years, so
Yeah.
I decided that wasn't going to happen.
You had grown attached?
I did grab the camel from the warehouse and the $100 bill. And then I stored it in a friend's marijuana warehouse up in the green triangle.
Yeah, the Emerald Triangle.
Emerald Triangle. Thank you very much.
Sure.
So for 30 years, the Camel Inflatable was up in this warehouse. And then we had the Bammies reunion concert in March of 2018. And that was at the Regency Ballroom. Neil Sean, Narda Michael Walden, Sammy Hagar, Pablo Cruz, Jefferson Starship, and then. It was just a fantastic concert, sold out in 2 days, and so I wanted to have the Camel there, but we didn't make it. It didn't make it. But anyway, I did get it refurbished and had the BAM logo put on the sides of it.
Yeah.
Now we're taking it out and we're starting to show it places.
Yeah.
We set that thing up. You missed that fun. No wonder why it smelled so good.
I didn't follow the logic there, but I'm going to go with it. Yeah, we now are sitting on that for you in our warehouse. It's all tucked up, nice and tidy and safe, ready to go whenever you are. Last time we whipped it out, you're correct. I was very wise in missing the setup of that and the breakdown. I had other things.
If somebody rolls up with a little tiny crate and says, "This folds out to a two-story camel," do you want to inflate it? Yeah.
It was surprising how big that son of a bitch got. It was very cool though. I got a bunch of pictures. I sent some to Mikey. I was hoping we could throw it up on the screen. We'll see if he can find it while we're doing this. But yeah, it was super fun. You got any plans? That concert you just mentioned, that was an incredible concert. You know, like you mentioned, Neil Sean, and I mean everybody in their Mother Grace. The airplane was there. It was fantastic. You got any plans for something like that in the future?
Yeah, we're looking into the music synchronization of several of the songs. We have gotten approval from the Pablo Cruz band. They really liked the mix that we did for them and the editing and all that kind of stuff. And we were able to get the sync licenses for Pablo. Neil, Narda, and Sammy have verbally said that we can use those music. There was 5 songs from the 2 Jimi Hendrix songs, and I forget what other ones, but they were. Oh, and then Sammy Hagar did a couple of his classics too. So it was a really great set. So we're hoping to do a streaming thing on Nugs, perhaps, or with your Backstage Pass show or something.
Yeah, I was going to mention or ask you about that. I know you've got one of my guys that's here on the crew, Mikey Brown, doing some editing. So we should lay it out there. You got damn near 20 years of captured footage from these award shows of amazing performances. What's your plan with it?
We do, and it's all historical stuff, and it was similar to the 20th anniversary when Santana brought out all the other artists. One of my other favorites was Neil Young and Sammy Hagar came out and they did a 20-minute introduction to their Neil Young song "Down by the River."
Yeah,
they just traded leads back and forth, and it was like, oh my God, where do you hear this stuff? Where do you see it? You don't.
Mm-mm. No, well, luckily you have hours and hours of footage of some amazing stuff. We watched some stuff together. I guess it was a couple weeks back now, maybe 3 or 4 weeks back, in the conference room on the big screen, and there was a performance by a band I came up with that I absolutely love. The drummer is Imperial Teen. You mentioned them before, but also the performance I'm referring to was a Sister Double Happiness performance that you captured. That was fantastic. Absolute a legendary band here in the Bay Area. A really great band. I would think that you'd have a ton of material that would be very that people would want to see. So I hope you and Mikey come up with a great offering, and when you do, when you know what it is and how you want to present it, let me know, and we'll be sure to advertise it and highlight it on the show here, because it's I've seen. Well, I think that day we probably sat through 4 or 5 hours together of footage, and there was just great performance after great performance from pretty much anybody and everybody, and I can imagine that going far.
I gotta say, the amount of archival footage, I mean, I've been attached to some of your email chains since that event we did for your Zoom meetings, is like astonishing. The amount of actual content that you unarchived was like incredible, man. Little bits of history I had no idea of,
Yeah, no, he's got a ton of content, and I can imagine you'd find an outlet for that a lot of people would be really grateful to see. Let me ask you about the Bammies Music Foundation. I know it's a
Yeah,
group of a bunch of folks from the Bay Area. You've got a couple of the main TV anchors in the area, some legendary radio guys in the area, and of
sure.
course, I believe my brother from Sound Image, George Edwards, is among them. What's the plan for the group for the Bay Area Music All Stars?
You know, our goal, the Bammies Music Foundation goals are to help bring the Bammies back for the next generation. That, and they share that goal with BAM Magazine too. I mean, we're partners in that, but they're two separate entities. One is a nonprofit, and the other one is a LLC or for profit business. Um, so the foundation itself, because when we did the inauguration here at Soundstage with Dan and everything, that really got everybody fired up. And a couple of people wanted to leave. That's fine, but we had a lot of people wanted to join because of the group of people that are on this board. And not only are we trying to bring the Bammies back for the next generation, but we want to pass along music education stuff for people that want to get into the music business or be musicians or be whatever. So we want to pass along that information to the high schools and the college people as well with the foundation. And if you would like to take a look at it, it's BammiesMusicFoundation.org. And the BAM website is bammagazine.com.
Yeah, I would suggest everybody run over to the bammagazine.com, and if you want to be a part of the Bammies Musicians Foundation, go to .org. It's cool stuff. Is that somewhere you might be considering offering internships to folks like college type age? Is that type thing?
That's right. In fact, we have a couple of interns right now that are our web people. We've got two young web people. One is in New York, and another one is in the Caribbean.
What kind of stuff you have them do for you?
They're, we're redoing both sites right now, and so I've given them a shopping list of things that I want to get done. One of those things is, and we kind of passed over the Bammies Walk of Fame real quickly, but let me tell you how there's 10 plaques in the Bammies Walk of Fame, and it started with Bill Graham, who had passed away fairly recently to the beginning of the Walk of Fame. So the first three plaques were Bill Graham, Carlos Santana, and Jerry Garcia.
Of course. Perfect.
And so those were the first three. The next year we had Janis Joplin and John Lee Hooker. And then in subsequent years after that, we had Metallica, Jefferson Airplane, and the most recent ones, which came in 2018, were Sammy Hagar and Stephen Seaweed, who was the Bay Area disc jockey for 44 years.
Yeah, no, he was a mainstay. That's a perfect inclusion.
Yeah, I agree. I really, and I want diversity in the Walk of Fame, and I really want Green Day in. That's one of the ones that I'm lobbying for. But I don't get the sole vote on that. It's the Bammies Music Foundation Board of Directors that will vote on who's gets inducted next.
Well, Green Day, what have they been in the game? And they're right here up the way about 15 miles for about 35 years. I can't imagine they wouldn't be. That would be an easy vote, in my mind.
I think so too. We floated the subject to them a long time ago, and they're up for it for sure. They live in Oakland.
Yes, sir.
And they're great people. And think of all the hits that they've had.
Yeah, no, they've killed it. They've killed it. And they've had many kind of incarnations, and they've definitely had the peaks and valleys like any band, and they're still there killing it. And I think they're probably in a better space than they've ever been. I've worked with them quite a few times and enjoy them a great deal. Trey Cool, super fun kid. If you want to get up to some trouble backstage, hang out with Trey Cool. I got to say, me and Trey Cool have actually been thrown out of his own show before they played.
That's amazing.
This is one of the best nights of my life, swear to God, so fun. Who are some of the Bay Area musicians of today that would be
Yep.
eligible for a Bammy award when the award show starts back up, in your mind?
You know, I do have a list in my office here somewhere, but off the top of my head, G-Eazy is someone that Soundstage has done something with fairly recently.
Yeah.
He's a Bay
The last
Area
show we
guy.
did, it was a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
That's right.
Hmm.
Her, Her, the woman from Uleo,
Sure. Right.
she's won Grammy Awards for Best Blues Album for 2 years in a row.
Very talented lady.
Very, very talented lady, very attractive, and she lives in Vallejo.
Did
And
not know that.
yep. And who else? I'm having a senior moment here, but G-Eazy for sure. Her, and I wish I brought my list down here, but I don't have it.
No problem, buddy. You've worked with some of the biggest Bay Area bands. You got a favorite?
Oh, I well, there's various levels of, you know, I mean,
Not for stardom, not Metallica. It can be Metallica, but with Journeys, Santana. You've worked with
Pat O'Doul says MC Hammer.
Oh,
I think it's proper.
Pat, stay in your lane, damn it. What the hell, Pat? Rearing up.
I would have to say, with all the different shows that I've done over the years and what have you, and what he's done for me and for the Bammies and stuff like that, it would have to be Carlos Santana.
Yeah, I knew for a fact you were going there, and you're not wrong. But he is such a institution in the area, and he's really shows up pretty much every time there's something that a fundraiser, a moment, some way to support the area. And I know he's probably, I would say, from my memory, probably the star that showed up and did the most of the Bammies consecutively.
Yes.
Yeah, and always puts on a hell of a show. Great guy.
Yes.
Yeah, no two ways about it.
And his lovely wife, she's so great, and she's the drummer for the Santana band.
Yeah. No, they're a fabulous band, and some of the best players in any given band is Santana's band. I mean, his players are ridiculous. It's really a great show. My friend Pat O'Doul wants me to ask you if you've worked with MC Hammer. You can't really have not. I mean, if you're in the Bay Area, MC shows up.
I personally don't think I have, actually. I certainly I knew of him, but I was a rock and roll guy, not so much a hip hop person. So
Yeah, no, I totally understand. Me and my brother were getting gas, I don't know, a few months back, and we were at some gas station, and MC Hammer pulled up next to us. And it was an interesting exchange. He's a nice man, but yeah, seriously, it was very interesting watching some of the folks as they recognized it was MC Hammer, how they responded to him, and he took a little extra time wiping his windows so he could kind of hang out with the fans. It was very it was fun. We got a kick out of it. But yeah, he's a Bay Area legend in his own right, I guess. Regardless, how can some of my Beyond the Backstage Pass audience and viewers donate to the Bay Area Music Foundation and help?
thanks for asking. Go to BammiesMusicFoundation.org, and there is a donate button on the site. And we got a nice donation just today, actually.
Oh, really? Great.
A nice big donation. So.
That's fantastic.
Thank you for asking.
Well, you guys are doing good things over there. I'm not sure if we've explained exactly. Have we? Do you feel like we've touched enough on the Bay Area Music Foundation, what it actually does, and why it's so important?
Yes, it's self-explanatory. One of the things that we're adding this weekend to that site is we have all the plaques, pictures of all of the plaques of the Bammies Music Foundation inductees. And we've had audio programs created for each of those programs. So we're adding those audio programs to the plaques, and that'll be a really nice added feature that some people that might have sight problems or whatever could still enjoy knowing about the plaques.
Fantastic. You've been doing this for a minute now. I think when you get into the game around 77, I want to think you're definitely a war horse and a fixture in the Bay Area scene. I'm sure you've been paying attention. Hence the reason we're doing this from a distance. We're trying to make sure we're all safe. Not my favorite thing, but I very much appreciate you coming on the show today. Can you tell me, with your vast experience and what you know today, what you think the future holds for the music industry, for our industry, when we're coming back, what you're thinking, how we're coming back?
I think you're in the exact right position to do that. Streaming is the future of music, I think. CDs, nuh-uh. It's either Apple or downloads or this, that, and the other thing. But now that we've sort of been forced into it, streaming of the music business is going to be just, forever.
Yeah, I think it's definitely it's something. I don't think we can replace the live music experience, but I also am pretty sure there's going to be some small part of the population that might not feel immediately comfortable with coming out in crowds. So
Yep.
I think this lane will stay open going forward, and a lot of good properties and little enterprises have come up. I've mentioned a few of them on the show here and there, or let's even say this show. But of course, the live shows will come back to you hopefully, and we'll kind of service both monsters, and everybody will get their needs met. Folks that maybe want to come back out and do rock and roll shows with us, which, fingers crossed, I'm certainly obviously hoping for that. We've got a lot of gear here that I need to put to use, and there's nothing like like a live show. But I think the streaming thing will continue as well. One quick question too, working with Elvin Bishop. I always enjoyed working with him. You have many experiences with Elvin?
Yeah, well, I did some shows with him. I think I did a BAM Summer in the City concert with Elvin. Certainly went to many of his shows. Trying to think of I saw him with the Electric Flag.
He was always very exciting to play with.
Yeah,
Yeah, super good stuff.
it's fun,
Mhm.
and Fooling Around and Fell in Love, that song, that was a huge hit.
Yeah, he had a moment there where he was kind of omnipresent. He seemed to be kind of everywhere, and yeah, it was a good time. And listen, Kenny, we love that you came out. Thank you so much for helping us out in this pinch. And
Thank you.
I miss you. I hope we get to be able to get together soon when you feel it's safe, and everybody in your camp is cool with it. You're going to get your butt down here. Until then, we're going to be working on this mass of material. I can't say this enough. How it's just an embarrassment of riches, and all these different performances you've captured through the years. And I know you'll be working closely with Mikey Brown, our executive producer, and coordinating that. I know he's excited about that. And until then, I need you to take very good care of yourself. And we want to thank you for coming on this evening, my friend.
Back at you. Really appreciate the opportunity.
All right,
Thank you
partner.
a lot.
You take care of
All
yourself. All right, buddy.
Okay.
Have a good night. Listen, guys, we got our normal little announcements. Let's talk about some things here. Loving Hands for Stagehands, our dear friends and brothers and sisters over at Loving Hands for Stagehands, closed group for roadies and stagehands on Facebook. Go check them out. It's a good place to kind of sort through your stuff and be with people that are experiencing a similar time as we all are right now, kind of a hard time. Reach out to the people also over at Big Love Army. That's Rick Allen's page and Lauren Monroe. It's a cool place for a little daily affirmation, and a little shout out to my friends out in Hawaii with Rizzo Pacific Staging. He's a good man. If you're out in Hawaii, he's the guy who's going to throw up your stage. So be nice, treat him right, and of course my good friend Charlie Zaricki. Shout out to you. And my brother from another mother is Noah the Beard Tanner. He's doing a show in Las Vegas right now. Let's all wish him the best.
He chimed in on Facebook.
Did
Said
Noah
hello.
Noah? What's up, baby? I hope you're having fun out there. He's out with the SIR, Studio Instrument Rental, doing some work out there with their Las Vegas branch. And he's got a week of solid work. And that's
Now, dude, we
fun.
got to call and make sure he got a tattoo of your
He
lovely
wants us to
mug.
pay for the tattoo.
It might be worth it. It might be worth it. Mike just chimed in and said he paid for it.
Mikey's in. Mikey's been trying to throw money around. This is like the second thing he's offered to pay some money for today.
I know.
Mikey, I don't know what you're doing on the
Dude,
side,
he's
but
just telling us he's a
like
part
it.
of the team. We got to follow suit and dump some money in
Yeah,
there.
he's not wrong, and we appreciate the gesture. That's super kind. Hey guys, if you're looking for an extra page to look at, check out EAW Users Group. It's a great page, and if you get some free time, go over to the guys on Signal to Noise podcast. Kyle, Michael, and Chris are put together an amazing show. They got I want to say 75, 80 episodes now of some of the coolest guys in the business talking about, the best way to push knobs and turn.
Is your episode up
turn
yet?
knobs and faders. I think we got ours axed. I think I was too naughty on the show.
Were you?
Yeah.
You got that. That's awesome.
We did a show together, and I was a little bit of a spaz, as I am known to be, and not sure my episode's going to air. I don't know. I don't really. Yeah, it's whatever. Anyways, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Quick shout out. We got a new sponsor this week with Diablo Digital. That's the guys. That's Diablo Digital is they make their own Pro Tools rigs that go out with some of the biggest bands in the world: Rolling Stones, U2, Ozzy. They're an incredible company. They're run and by the people that own Diablo Digital. It's Greg Price and Brad Maddox. These are two of the best engineers in the world, and that's not hyperbole. They really are. And
Does both of them have Pernelli Awards, or just one of them?
I'm pretty sure both of them, but don't hold me to it. And if they don't, that's a freaking crime.
Yeah,
I mean,
right,
it's
seriously.
Rush's guy and Black Sabbath and Ozzy's guy. I mean, come on. And then that's barely scratching the surface of the bands they've actually worked with. Greg was with Rage Against the Machine for their whole live career, and others.
Or
Van
like Brad
Halen,
going
and
out with Smashing
both of them
Pumpkins.
were Van Halen's guys. I mean,
Yeah,
come on, they're
such a
literally
trip.
two of the best guys in the business, and they share space with us right here in this building. We love them. We're very lucky to be associated with them. So we want to thank them for sponsoring the show. We welcome them to the show. Next, like I mentioned, we have some big guests coming up. I've got the next 3 months booked up with some serious heavy hitters. I'm super looking forward to it. We're going to start off next week with Gabby Schiff. She's spent most of her early career in the theater. She moved her way up into working for Heart and then Pink. And I don't know if you've seen Pink shows, but Pink puts on a crazy good show. Like, she's easily one of the best live performers in the business, puts on one of the biggest shows. And so we've got the LD I believe she's in charge of the moving part of the show, the moving lights part of the show. We're looking forward to having her on next week. We very much appreciate you tuning in. Remember, you can find us at YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch. And we have podcasts on Amazon Music, Google, iTunes, Spotify, pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast. We've got it out there. And my boy here, Kyle Thomas, is going to be putting some more shows up. So we're going to add 6 at least shows straight away here in the very near future. So please look out for them. And if you like what we're doing, push the little like symbol on your page. Otherwise, we will be back again next week at 7 p.m. Until then, you take good care of yourselves and be kind to each other.